You are born looking like your mom and dad, but you will die looking like your decisions. I do not care how much money you have, how much influence you have. What I care about is, are you actually happy? Really? That's important to me. And sometimes people don't even have a safe space to tell the actual truth, so they'll just perpetuate the same game that they've created so that people can see them a certain way. And in this conversation, I believe that if you can align yourself in the physical aspect and the spiritual aspect, because we're literally all of it, what is meant for your life should effortlessly come in. So that's what I mean by effortless millions, but it's like effortless abundance. When you're aligned mentally, physically, and spiritually, you're literally like a seed planted into the frequency of all of Earth's creation, and an entire ecosystem will build itself around how you're vibrating inside of the way in which you're aligned. It would be difficult if a bird were to try to be a giraffe. Be difficult. You can see how life is that difficult. Now, if a bird were a bird who doesn't even know it's a bird, but it's just using everything that's already inside of it, you can see how soaring takes place. That's that version of abundance for the bird. So the effortlessness comes from the full consciousness of alignment from mind, body, and soul. Doesn't take away from your talent, doesn't take away from your skill, doesn't take away from your work ethic. The difference is, are you living from the outside in or the inside out? Anyone who's living from the outside in, they're living a hard internal life. Anyone who's living from the inside out has a better chance at longevity and sustainability in peace and calm and tranquility. But if you take the same business skills and then you harmonize it with the interpersonal skills, effortlessness transcends.
I think our audience is the business side. You know, a lot of them are quite successful or on the journey to be successful.
Yeah.
But the happiness element, I would say, is missing due to not having that spiritual alignment. Where would they start?
Here's what I would tell. I had a client. She has I was on a call with a lady who has a business like $15 million. And she was like, I have the husband, I have the kids, I have the money and everything, but I just feel like something is missing. And we're about to go back to this conversation. And I was like, what'd you used to love to, by the way, her shoulders were sunken in like this. What'd you used to love to do as a child that brought you the most joy? She's, I remember I used to love to dance. And then she literally shifted right before my eyes, thinking about what she used to love to do. And I was like, when was the last time you danced? She shifted again, 20 years ago. And I did the same, mom. And I said, you tap into your, it's like a spiritual umbilical cord to source energy, to heaven. When you align the little kid inside of you and alchemize it with the adult. That's where all your creativity comes from, the energy comes from, all these different things. Don't leave the little kid with the big ideas, the bigness. And so where I would tell somebody to start is once a week. For all the analytical people, schedule it. Find one thing that you can do that you used to love to do as a child that brought you the most joy. If you don't remember, ask somebody that was around during that time. What did I used to love to do? Oh, you used to love to play the guitar. I'm like, why did I stop? Oh, you had broken. We never bought you another one. It's because nobody paid attention. So the child then abandons the thing that they love to then focus on what everybody else, where people pay attention to. Because energy goes where energy flows. So find one thing that you can do and take your little kid out on a self-date, whether it's dancing, singing, swimming, doing visual arts, whatever, the telescope at night, whatever, playing with Barbie dolls. But it used to bring you so much joy. Take 5 minutes. I'm not even going to tell you an hour, like I do an hour. Take 5 minutes once a week and make it intentional. You're not an adult doing this. You're coming from the little kid inside of the adult and say, you know what? I'm taking my little kid and we're about to go skateboarding, or we're about to go roller skating, or we're about to do this. Give yourself 5 minutes once a week for 90 days. And I want you to pull out a journal. And I want you to document and timestamp every synchronicity that doesn't typically happen during those 90 days. And I want you to have a written record of all of the documentation and the timestamp, and then connect the dots looking backwards. That is your little kid, that magical world of the inner you coming online. Now I want you to look at all those synchronicities together. And since you measure data and all this other stuff, you cannot grow what you don't measure. Measure what has happened and occurred in 90 days that doesn't typically happen, simply because you took 5 minutes of present time to spend with your inner child.
As many of you know, we are independent creators and filmmakers, but there is a massive attack on us right now. Traditional media over the last few years has started to slowly die. They are no longer the independent voice that you first thought they were. That's why we've created Mulligan Brothers Patreon. We've built something special for our most dedicated supporters, and I want to break it down for you real quick. The supporter tier gets you ad-free early access to both video and audio versions of Mulligan Brothers interviews 24 hours before it goes public. The executive tier gets you everything that a supporter tier gets, plus more. Exclusive interviews and behind the scenes content, walk and talks, daily routines, unreleased interviews, the stuff that you don't see anywhere else. And finally, the executive producer tier. Everything from the supporter tier and the executive tier, plus exclusive perks. Access to our treatment packages. Be the first to see which guests are coming up and get insight into the topics we'll be discussing before anyone else. And you'll even get an executive producer credit on every single documentary that we make. So if you've ever wanted to support the Mulligan Brothers mission of inspiring change so we can go around the world and get these stories that nobody else will, this is exactly how you do it. Go to patreon.com/Mulligan Brothers, or click the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen. Join the community and help us inspire change.